Dominic was born in the year 1170 in France. His mother was very religious, thank God for holy mothers, and another two brothers of his became priests as well. He is the founder of the Dominican order, the order of preachers, and along with St. Ignatius of Loyola, who founded the Jesuits, and St. Francis, who founded the Franciscans, and St. Benedict, who founded the Benedictines, he would have, through that, made an enormous contribution to the church as we would know it today. And also, according to tradition, Our Lady gave the rosary to Saint Dominic. In the Office of Readings for today, the prayer book that priests and nuns and brothers say, there's a beautiful description of the life of Saint Dominic. We all have a very vivid understanding of what it is to be possessed by the devil, but the complete opposite of that is someone who is possessed by God, and that is a very good way to sum up Saint Dominic. He was totally committed to the work of God, to the salvation of souls, reading the Bible, prayer, and he would often spend long nights caught up in prayer. He was very compassionate, cheerful, and joyful. And his attention was always focused on God. There is a quote from the Office of Readings that says, he seldomly spoke unless it was with God in prayer, or else he was speaking about God to others. So maybe a very practical question for us to ask ourselves here in the church this morning is, how can there be more prayer in our life? As committed Catholics, we know that we should say our morning prayers and evening prayers, but what happens in between for the whole of the day? Well, one way to have more prayer in our life, and this is really, again, basic, we should say a little grace before meals and ask God to bless our food, and then thank God for the food that we've eaten after we are finished. I have one of these smartphones, but any phone that you have, mobile phone, it can be programmed to give you a little reminder during the day. And I have a reminder that goes off every day at 12 and 6 to pray the Angelus. And then I have another little bell that goes off at 3 o'clock to remind me of Jesus dying on Good Friday at 3 o'clock and doing my little 3 o'clock meditation on his death. It's also something that's pretty easy to develop an ongoing conversation in our head, in our mind, throughout the day in which we are chatting with God. Whenever I'm taking in the news and I hear about all of these sad stories and the murders and all the earthquakes and the hurricanes and all the rest of it, what I like to do when I hear of all of these stories is to say a very quick prayer. I invoke the blood of Jesus on these situations or individuals. And when we invoke the blood of Jesus on a person or on a situation, we're asking that all the merits of the sacrifice of Calvary would be applied to that person or situation. There's nothing more powerful than to invoke the merits of Calvary on all of these terrible things that we come across in the news. Whenever I'm passing a cemetery, I also invoke the blood of Jesus for all the people inside, particularly if it's a Protestant cemetery, because as we know, the Protestants don't pray for their dead. If I'm passing a chapel, I make the sign of the cross and I have a quick hello to Jesus, as we know, who is in the tabernacle. If I see a sunset, I like to thank God for the beauty of the world of nature. And when I'm traveling in the car, I never turn on the radio, and I use that time traveling maybe to catch up with my rosary or the Divine Office or whatever other prayers I may have.